The Kyle's speed team was simultaneously the most difficult thing I've done in Summoner's War, but also one of the most rewarding.
Yes, dude! It's working!
This video will hopefully help you dodge the frustrating part and jump straight to the rewarding part. I suffer so that you don't have to. Well, I'm suffering, but also so are all the host of people online who are creating guides and primers for this team ahead of this. But we didn't have one on the official channel yet, so let's hopefully remedy that. If that intro wasn't clear enough, I did not create this team, but I am greatly benefiting from it. Let's get into it. Just like other teams on this channel, we're gonna go through it in turn order. I'm gonna start by talking about the team, then I'll talk about some common pitfalls, as well as the luck component, and just a couple of tips at the end. Starting us off, it's Lauren, the light cowgirl, your primary defense breaker and soul strip option. Though if we're banking on her to strip something, then the team has already failed. Runes. There are 3 combinations that I'm presenting you today. Triple fight, violent fight, and swift fight. Basically what I'm saying is no matter which way you go, she should always be on at least one set of fight runes. Fight runes are a subsection of offsets that we colloquially call hug runes. And hug runes give a benefit to the entire team as soon as a set is applied. And in fight runes case, they increase attack. And we really like attack because that helps us slay dragons. Hopefully faster. As far as stat priorities for Lauren, honestly, she just needs to be fast and accurate. That's all we really care about. Here are the stats of my Lauren on violent and fight, but lately I've actually been testing her more on swift and fight, and I've been really enjoying the results. I was gonna talk about this more in the pitfalls section, but let's briefly touch on it right now. Here are the advantages and disadvantages of each of these sets. So triple fight, obviously that means more attack equals more damage for your entire team. But the downside to that is that she can't proc, and that's it. That's the downside. On violent fight, that unlocks her ability to have a 22% chance to take an extra turn. And that's great because we believe in second chances. Lauren's whole role is landing that gosh dang defense break. And when she can't do it, that's the end of the run. So procking, that's great. We love procking. We also like her having the opportunity to proc into an emergency strip on skill 2 if the boss happens to get the cleanse and immunity up. But lately, I've been really enjoying her on Swift. Assuming that you've maxed out the speed stat in the tower on your Sky Island, you can put her on Swift with 170 additional speed, and that will let her move a second time before the boss. Now, this could actually be a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it's incredibly stable, and that guarantees her an extra chance at landing that defense break. The curse is that it slows down the team because she moves ahead of Kyle and Shaman after Kyle's been boosted and Shaman has yet to take his first turn. But to me, the guaranteed extra attempt at defense break is worth it. So for the sake of the video, I'm going to recommend you put your Lauren on Swift Fight with 170 additional speed, so that way she gets that guaranteed second turn. If you want to try out Triple Fight or Violent Fight just to see what I'm talking about, please go for it. This team, more than anything, is an iterative process. So you'll refine it over time, right? It's okay to have a rough draft. I also had a rough draft. So real quick before we leave Lauren, we find ourselves in the middle of the 11th anniversary. And with it came an event that lets you choose a Nat 5 and a Nat 4 that's fully skilled, fully max level. Not only does that give you a good opportunity to get Kyle if you want, but it also lets you potentially choose Shaina. So the reason why Shaina is not included in the main team is because she's not strictly farmable, and neither is Kyle. And I didn't want to make you get 2 non-farmable units to do a starter version of this team. So for the sake of the video, Lauren is the recommendation, but Shaina is incredible at helping the team get sped up even further by AoE defense breaking and letting you clear those opening waves faster. She comes up again as a substitution later in the video, but I just wanted to throw that in here now because this event was not live back when the video was recorded. Next up, it's Kyle, the Water Poison Master, the namesake of the team. In the gameplay behind me, you'll see that I'm going to be using the functional equivalent from his collab release. Kyle has a passive that says as long as he wasn't attacked, he gets a guaranteed additional turn, and he gets 100% damage increase on additional turns. And that is why we can rune him on Rage and he'll still proc. You'll see that the runes for Kyle, pretty simple. Rage. And whatever gets him the most crit damage. For your artifact substats, prioritize damage dealt on fire, crit damage in all forms. I'm talking own turn 1 target crit damage, skill 2 crit damage as the enemy's HP is closer to max, crit damage as the HP gets lower, skill 1 crit damage, then attack buff potency and additional damage are also good for him. Anytime that you can increase this guy's damage, go for it. Now, with that said, as far as main stats, of course, attack is going to be ideal, but if you happen to have an artifact that has all of the other prerequisites, like crit damage sources, damage dealt on fire, etc., even if it's a defense primary stat, I would still equip it. In fact, in the gameplay that you're seeing behind me, one of this guy's artifacts is actually defense primary stat. In terms of stats, your number one priority is going to be crit damage, your second priority is going to be crit rate, and your third is going to be speed. If you'd like to just copy my team exactly, you can do that, and that's actually why I'm providing the stats on screen. So you can use the advanced rune settings in-game to sort to find exactly the speeds that you need to copy my team. Mine at the time of writing is at plus 86, and I'm told that that's actually fast among Kyle's. He doesn't need to be that fast, but in order to get the stats that I needed, they had to be these runes. I tried to keep efficiency as high as humanly possible, meaning look at stats like the accuracy, the resistance. He has none. Base 15% resistance, 0% accuracy. It's a pretty efficient Kyle. So, we've made it perfectly clear that crit damage is your number one priority. But obviously, crit damage means nothing without crit rate. The best thing you can do is aim for 100% crit rate. But remember that you have attribute advantage against the boss, so that's going to net you an additional 15% crit rate. So technically speaking, he doesn't need to be 100%. Pop quiz. How many fire monsters are in dragons? The answer? 2. The mid-boss, Zyros the Fire Dragon, and the boss himself. Those are the only 2 fire monsters in dragons. Everything else is neutral element. So that means Kyle will have attribute advantage against the boss and Zyros, but not against the crystals. So whatever crit rate you're bringing into this, that's going to be his crit rate up against the crystals. Oh my god, how funny is that? I literally just missed crit on crystals as I was saying that. That's crazy. I literally, like in the run that I'm farming right now, oh, let's see. I literally just missed crit on the crystals a second ago. What the timing on that was absurd. That was but you see how likely it is. You see how likely it is even with the crit rate that I have on mine. So, you know, in fact, I would actually say that that's probably the biggest weakness of my team is the crit rate on my Kyle. And technically speaking, you actually can use this team in other places in the game. Like you can actually use it in Giants Abyss as well. But just note, if you're doing that, you may want to also include sources for increased damage on water, and you'll also need more crit rate because you're at element neutrality up against the boss. Do we want to try? Let's try it. I think it's going to fail. Oh my god, we're going to get counterattacked and it's all going to go wrong. Oh my god, it's all over. Oh, we did it. Never mind. Optimism, chat. Oh, and I got a new best clear time. Kyle is also your leader with a 33% attack power lead in dungeons. Next, let's talk about Tion and Kona, the light and water Garuda respectively. As far as runes go, you'll want to have both of them on triple fight. I have Tion runed at plus 84 speed, and I have my Konamiya at plus 76. Again, an easy thing to do here would be to just copy my stats exactly using the over-under feature in the advanced rune settings. So you just type in the exact amount of speed that you want, and the advanced rune settings will find it for you. 2 things to note with Tion and Kona after reviewing that speed. There does need to be a gap between them because otherwise they'll boost each other. And that is the part that caused the frustration for me. If they're too close in speed, one will boost Kyle, the other will move immediately and boost the bird that went before it. You need there to be enough of a gap for the first bird to boost Kyle attack, then the next bird boost. So with that in mind, it's also important to remember that they don't necessarily give a turn, they give attack bar. So enemies and allies can still move ahead of you, otherwise known as cut in front of you. Tion and Kona are here specifically for the boost on their skill 2. It refills the attack bar of the unit that moved before them and also gives an attack buff. You'll notice that both of my birds are unawakened. And for the sake of the team today, they totally can be. For Konamiya, that means that he doesn't have access to his 3rd skill. And in some cases, it's actually better that way because then he won't default to using it if it's available. It's also a testament to just like, you know, you don't have to sink a bunch of resources into these secondary monsters. They're really just there to hold fight runes and boost Kyle. That's it. The final member of your team is Second Awakened Shaman. A note before we get too deep into it, it should be noted that my Shaman is fully skilled up. And the reason why that's important is because it actually reduces the skill cooldown time on his second skill. And that's important because that means when they transition from the last wave into the boss and get that cooldown time back, Shaman will have skill 2 up guaranteed. If he's not skilled up, sometimes he can just rip a skill 1 because that's all he has available. For Shaman's runes, we're going to put him on Rage. If you have fight runes left over to put him on a set of fight, more power to you. But for now, the prerequisite is really just that we increase his crit damage. For his artifacts, you'll want to put things that are similar to Kyle on him. So that means you'll want crit damage substats, increased damage on fire, and specifically skill 2 crit damage. For his stats, 100% crit rate is actually the most important thing here. Also, in doing research for this team, I saw that some folks out there actually like to have Shaman move ahead of Kyle. I personally didn't do that because I run the Teshar speed team in Giants, and it'll mess up my turn order for that. Unless I were to build a second Shaman. I could just build a second Shaman. So now that you know the whole team, let's briefly touch on some common pitfalls. First of all, I mentioned it earlier, Lauren missing defense break. Honestly, I shifted my Lauren from triple fight to violent to swift for exactly this reason. At the time of recording, I'm currently using a Swift Lauren. Second, it's Shaman using his skill 1 instead of skill 2. So make sure that at least that skill 2 is fully skilled up. And finally, Kyle defaulting to skill 1, even when he's boosted. In an ideal world, Kyle would prioritize using his skill 2, which is the high damage one that also applies defense break. But sometimes he'll use skill 1 twice in a row, 3 times in a row, when he has skill 2. And that's bad because after he's been bird boosted, that means he's burning through the attack buff that the birds apply. So your overall output is lower. So this team is really fast and fun, but ultimately a little bit volatile. But we as a community have done our best to try to mitigate that volatility. In fact, after finishing this guide, if you want to build this team for yourself, I implore you, go look at some of the other resources online to see what other people recommend, because some folks don't even use Lauren, which is a great segue into the tips and substitutions category. If you're looking for replacements for Lauren, I have seen people online use Shaina and the twins instead. And if you're lucky enough to have a Liam, you can use him instead of Shaman. He also has a powerful leader skill for this dungeon. I should mention too, it's not related to the speed team, but if you happen to have a Martina, then you can honestly get comparable times with just a Deva Martina team in Dragons. I know it's like super stylish to have a 45-second run, but you can get admirable like 105 or even high sub 1 minute runs just with the twins. In fact, that's what I was using before this team. One more time, here are the stats for all the monsters associated with the team, just lined up for easy reference. If you happen to have any additional tips or links to relevant guides to help other players build this team, please post them in the comments down below. But that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your experience is with the team, and have a great day. I'll see y'all next time.